Hey folks, Dave from Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. Hanging out with this nerd.
Nerdarchy Ted.
Today we ask the question, what party composition makes up the ultimate D&D party? Start this video by thanking our sponsor, Easy Roller Dice. Whether it's your first set of dice or your 1 millionth set of dice, Easy Roller Dice for all your dice rolling needs. Down in the description, you can find a link to Easy Roller Dice /Nerdarchy, as well as a one-time coupon code for a whopping 20% off.
So we're going to talk today about building the ultimate D&D party.
All right, so the question is, what is the ultimate D&D party? What composition is going to be the best overall for creating an adventuring party, for running it?
Oh, adventuring party. I thought you were talking about party. I'm going to have
Poppers,
cakes and balloons and dice. No?
No. Oh. I don't know where the dice fall into the party part, but
it's got to D&D related somehow.
But that being said, let's take a look at that. What makes the best adventuring party, the best D&D party? Historically, if you look through the editions of D&D, you were going to want your fighter, your cleric, your magic user, and your thief.
Or, wizard and rogue for the current iterations of them.
For third edition on.
Right.
They became that. And ultimately, that was your adventuring party. You always okay, you need these things in order to go into the dungeon, in order to form a party. And also, I guess for the sake of building our adventuring party, the best size is somewhere between 4 and 6 players, 4 or 6 characters in the party.
So we could average that out and just say, okay, well, let's look at trying to make something with 5. So if we say, well, we've got these 4, if we tack on a support role, that should work, right?
Okay, so that brings us closer to forming the ultimate D&D party.
So do we say, fighter, cleric, wizard, rogue, and bard, and voila, we've got the ultimate build? Do we really feel that that's going to produce the best?
Well, when you're talking about a support character in 5e D&D, really, anyone that casts spells probably does have some buffs and debuffs that they can throw out there, but there's only actually one class that can do that, plus buff other classes in another way. And that is the bard. The inspiration you can give out as a bonus action. They can also cast spells, which they could either use to help their allies, hinder their enemies, or healing, or do some other things. So, yeah, they do make a great support role. Clerics also generally have some great support spells as well, but then that's going to take away from the primary role of healing the party and putting them back together. Not everyone has, Tiffany's role of magical duct tape.
All right, so, we keep talking about these party roles. We recently did a video series on, playing without roles.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I learned a lot from us doing those videos and talking and reading the comments. I know we don't always respond to the comments, but a lot of times we do read them. And going through there were some lessons for sure. One of the things is 5th edition of all the editions of D&D really does muddy the water and blur the line between party roles. In this edition, you need to worry about this the least. If you need someone to do a lot of damage, there's usually several different character classes that can do that. If you need someone that can stand there and take a beating, again, bunch of character classes that can do that in this edition. Healing, there's again a bunch of character classes that can do the healing.
That's right.
Blasting, all right, you need a sorcerer or a wizard, or maybe a druid, but wizards and sorcerer are the best blasters in 5e D&D. So, wizard actually is the one to kind of stand up through all the editions and hold his role and lock it down. The least amount of blurring has gone on there. Now, the other classes get to dip and take from other roles and other classes fairly easy, but knowing wizards like a wizard or, maybe a sorcerer can do it as well. Clerics can do it to a certain degree. They don't do it as well, and they're not doing the thing they're supposed to be doing, which is putting the party back together.
Right. And you can get some of the same healing effects with a bard, but again, now they're not being able to support in other ways.
So, one of the things that we really learned, like I said, was when we did these, it's like there's a bunch of characters that can heal, and if you get several of those in the party, and I've seen this happen before, you don't actually even need a healer anymore because they can all kind of like share the job and do other things. And as far as like damage dealers in 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons, like there is so much blurring going on between your tank and your damage dealers. It's not even funny. If you get a great weapon fighter, right, who takes the feat to be of great weapon master, eventually they're gonna get 4 attacks around, and they can get a +10 to each one of those attacks to damage, which is substantial. And that's just from taking the -5. So if they hit 4 times, that's 40 points of damage. Well, did they action surge? Well, heck yeah, they did. That's 80 points of damage. Oh, wait a minute, their strength is maxed out. There
That's another
goes
40.
There goes another 40
So
points of damage.
you were 120 points of damage, no dice.
Yeah, we haven't added dice. We haven't used superior dice. We haven't had any crits going on. And we have, or magic bonuses or anything like that. And this is the guy that isn't supposed to be the damage dealer. This is the guy that's supposed to technically be the tank, right? And it gets just as ridiculous when you start looking at the paladin and the barbarian. The rogue, well, they always just hit hard and do a lot of damage.
Your paladin is, I think, the most blurring of the lines when you're talking about party roles, because, all right, what is the paladin supposed to be? Is he supposed to be the tank, or is he supposed to be the damage dealer? Because as a paladin, they're pretty much known for putting on the plate mail. They're either picking up a shield and swinging their long sword, or they're putting down the shield and they're picking up the great sword, and they're hitting hard, and they're coming in with divine smites. They eventually get the point where every swing there's divine energy in it. So they're always adding that extra die of damage on top of whenever they smite.
The real question is with the paladin, with wearing all that armor and being so tanky and smacking people around with so much damage, where do they find the time to do all that healing they can do as well?
Well, I mean, they can choose to not spend any of those hit dice on smite, or not hit the, not spend any of those spell slots on smiting. They can use that to heal, but they've also got the lay on hands, so they can tank, they can damage, they can heal, and they do all pretty well.
So we've been doing a lot of talking, but we haven't actually put together the ultimate D&D party yet. But we'll get around to that quick. Quick anecdote from like my game, right? My game is never filled all the party roles. We in the last session we had a cleric, a barbarian, a bard, and a rogue, and we had one more, and a paladin. And so we had no spellcaster, but man, these ladies tore through a Be-Her and Beholder like they were nothing. I literally did something I rarely ever do, and I maxed out the hit points on the monster. I rarely change much out of the monster manual, but they just laid down so much damage, and they had so much healing. Now, granted, it'd be a different story if there was maybe a bunch of monsters opposed to just a couple, but in this edition, it's really hard if we're really just trying to build the best party composition, because I don't think there is one.
Right.
Now, that's just if you're going by this is how you play D&D and these are the rules, right? Unwritten as they may be. Then there's also the idea of the way I think we've typically played our game, and that is that there isn't really an ideal adventuring party. Like when someone comes into my game, I'm like, and they're like, what do you need? What should I play? And I'm like, you should play whatever you want to play. What's going to be fun for you? You should go with that.
And that makes a lot of sense. There's some party compositions that work really well together. The players at the table, they work together with tactics to make best use of what's there. And there's times that it's just the opposite. They don't work well together. The players and thus the characters don't mesh, and things end up in a jumble. And
wait a minute, are you talking about Critical Role? Because that's like a good example, because they have a really large party, And they tend to be like scattered and not work well together. And they do kind of have all the roles covered.
They have the roles covered. If you get into some of season 1, there's times when they're either still learning or they didn't read enough and spells are misused. It's like, oh, I read the first part. That sounds amazing. I want to do it. And didn't realize that there was like a whole deficit to it. And it's like, nope, you said you cast a spell. That's what happened. Deal with it.
So, I mean, with all that being said, though, for me personally, like the ultimate D&D party, that's the one you have fun playing, right? That's the one where everyone is enjoying their character and they're having a good time. To me, that is how you put together an adventuring party. You don't really need to worry about, is this role covered or is that role covered? Instead, you need to worry about, is this going to be fun for everybody at the table?
So it doesn't really matter if there is one. The ultimate is, as Dave says, it's going to be what you have fun playing, what you do with your friends, and jump down to the comments below. Let us know what you think, what you think might be the ultimate D&D party. While you're down there, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.
Also, check out the description for that link and one-time promo code for Easy Roller Dice.
So until next time,
Stay nerdy.